You can clearly see a big difference in the character and behaviors of the Smith family from the first episode of the show till now. And if you don't get what I'm saying, go and watch the first episode of the series, the one where Morty helps Rick smuggle space fruits with his butt. And just like me, you'll probably notice how relatively normal everyone in the family portrays themselves. Compare that to the pessimistic vibe they all give off nowadays, and you're probably wondering what happened to the good old Smith family. And well, like all things in this universe, the answer involves Rick Sanchez. To put it lightly, Rick brings out the worst in people wherever he goes. There's just something about his nihilistic views and superiority complex that makes people act in toxic ways. And that's exactly what has happened to the Smith family, except maybe Jerry? I still believe he was always going to be a low life, regardless of whether Rick entered his life or not. Starting off with the Smiths before Mr. C-137, Beth was an overworked spouse who had a somewhat stable marriage and a caring family. Jerry was a sad sack who feasted on the pity of others to survive. Summer was your typical ignorant teenager who cared about boys and popularity among her friends. And Morty was a timid boy, failing classes and fantasizing about girls in his grade. You know, normal 9th grader stuff. So there wasn't anything particularly special about them. That is until Rick arrived. Rick returns to the family after years of interdimensional hijinks. These activities have set him up to be one of the most wanted and dangerous people in the cosmos. So, as an interdimensional terrorist with a bounty on his head, it's safe to say that wherever he chooses to settle becomes a hotspot for all the people and aliens that have beef with him. This makes his presence alone a threat to the family, because now everyone is at risk of getting shot or killed just because of his aura. And I don't know about you, but that would definitely make me a very paranoid individual, because you never know when some alien crackhead is gonna show up at your door with a black hole rifle ready to erase you from existence because of something your grandpa did. Another thing that Rick brings to the table of traumatizing people is the many dangerous adventures he takes the family on, especially when they are not fully prepared or even well informed about what they're going to be dealing with. This ranges from adventures in Atlantis to escaping an amusement park inside of a homeless man's body. This type of thing happens on so many occasions that the rest of the family have had to learn how to defend themselves from attacks in order to stay alive and not slow Rick down. That includes a lot of learning how to kill, by the way, and developing the mentality to not be affected by that. Now, onto what I think is the most destructive tool in his arsenal of declining the vibe of the family, and that is his choice of words. That is to say, this man can make you feel so dumb for liking the smallest things that he is against. Let me give you an example to show you what I mean by that. Let's say you told Rick that you love listening to Kanye West or whichever musician you choose. If he didn't, in quote, approve of this musician, his reply would go something like this. No offense there, kiddo, but you have the music taste of a deaf owl. And I'm not saying that's bad, but you should probably look in the mirror and do a hard, long review of your music taste before you get Spotify Premium. If you think that was a good impression and I'm destined for a successful career in voice acting, why don't you give this video a like and think of subscribing? But he may have a right opinion on something, but the way he would go about projecting his idea over yours would make it sound super condescending. Like those people who tell you no offense and then proceed to offend every fiber of your existence. And I think Morty said it best in the episode Vindicators 3 with this line.
When you're an asshole, it doesn't matter how right you are, nobody wants to give you the satisfaction.
After 5 long seasons of this treatment, it's apparent the kind of effect it has had on each member of the family and their dynamic as a whole. They have all basically become Rick. Their views on existence and life have changed drastically. It's no surprise that Rick has a realistically depressing view on life, and he's not afraid to make it known to other people. He makes these world opinions known in every opportunity that comes up. And because Morty, Beth, and Summer were trying very hard to gain Rick's approval in their early seasons, they've adopted these mentalities as time went on, and just to cope with their existence right now. The fun and ignorant spark that was in their eyes have been dulled by the pessimistic realization of what their lives have become. Have you noticed how they don't do stuff just for fun anymore? And the tones and the snarky remarks they make towards each other just tells you how degraded their relationships have become. It's like life is just a loser's game, and to enjoy it would be a complete waste of time. As I was making this video, we see in the latest episode Jurassic Park how Morty is now ostracized by everyone in his school because of the impact of his adventures with Rick and the effect that it has also had in his school and on his social life. Next, and more impressive, the family, with the exception of Jerry, have basically become cold-blooded, calculated, narcissistic killers. That was a mouthful. But this is most prevalent in Summer and Morty's character development. They are now both able to take out rooms of aliens with relative ease, and you gotta remember that they are both below 18. So we have two minors who have basically been killing life forms for the past 5 seasons, and I don't care who you are. But at this age, this will affect you. Unfortunately, you can see that Morty and Summer get accustomed to the constant bloodshed that they cause, to the point where it's completely normal for them now. Just look at these two clips. This one is from episode 1, Morty's first time shooting someone.
Glenn's bleeding to death! Someone call his wife and children! They're not robots, Rick! It's a figure of speech, Morty!
Contrast that with the one from Purge Night.
Really going for it over there, huh? I think those people were just hiding.
I don't give a
And I hope you can see the difference. But you know what? Let's show one for Summer too, to display how metal she's also become. Because it ain't just Morty who's made this transition. I hope these clips give you a fair idea of their change in mentality and character. On the flip side though, I do think that Rick has also improved their lives in a way. As crazy as it sounds, I think his influence has allowed them to become more sure of themselves. Morty now takes decisions and isn't afraid to call Rick out whenever he messes up, and this boldness reflects in everyone in the family, with Summer basically becoming a mini Rick, and yes, this also somehow applies to Jerry. You could say that it ultimately has been a benefit that Rick has entered their lives, but you could also make a suitable argument for the fact that it hasn't. The choice is yours, and I would like to know which side you lean towards. If you want to see a video where I break down the character of anyone in the family into detail, let me know, since my last video on Louise Belcher from Bob's Burger did really well, and I'll have that up there. Thanks for watching the video. Tune out.